You're listening to the Close to Home podcast, where we talk all things creative, hosted by Ty Arbin at Far From Studios.
Welcome everyone, I'm Ty. This is the Close to Home podcast. We're here to showcase and highlight creatives in Adelaide and all around Australia, be it music, fashion, food, photography, digital work, videography, anything. And we are blessed enough to have two very special guests today. We have...
My name is Hrithik.
And...
Isaac.
And what do you guys do?
So we co-run Phoenix Streetwear. It's a streetwear brand based here in Adelaide, obviously. But it's more than that in a sense that we do a lot of events, a lot of like fashion shows. We help out. We're part of a bigger group called Stilo. And yeah, we help out with events and do fashion shows mainly as well. And then have our clothing brand.
So it's a clothing brand and like a community and like a creative label as well.
That's a great way to put it, Ty. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. I think you framed it perfectly.
Right. And that's... it's something I want to get into a little bit when I want to talk about what do you want out of a label. But I want to talk to you guys. Like, obviously, it started with just a clothing label, right? It just started with fashion.
Yeah. So for me, maybe it's different for Isaac.
We'll start with you for a second. We'll
For
go down
me,
line.
where it started was back in year 11. So we went to high school together.
Yeah.
And then in year 11, me and Isaac were friends, but not that close friends. And we had like a friendly competition. So I had another homie named Ryan, and Isaac and I had another homie named Clinto. So we had a friendly competition, like, oh, we can design a shirt and sell more shirts than you, X, Y, Z. And it was just like, in the moment, it was just like, we thought it was like the greatest thing in the world. We would make so much money from it, and X, Y, Z.
You see dollar signs, right?
You're seeing dollar signs where designing on sites like Printful and stuff like that, and it was like, we're coming up with the designs, and that's where it started for us. And we're like, okay, we're gonna take it somewhere, but it didn't pan out. But I always had the idea that I wanted to create something for myself, and basically something for me to wear, my homies to wear, and just feel comfortable in it, you know what I mean? Knowing that, okay, I'm proud to wear my gear.
No,
and people can look at it and be like, yo, that's dope. Where can I cop that sort of stuff?
No, I get that. And I appreciate that. And that's something like I talk about with other people on the street, and something I talk about with Rishab and Jason. It's like, well, why did you create what you created? Was it what was the intent behind it? Was it to make money, which is just fine? I would never slander anyone who wants to make money from it. But is it for clothing that you want to wear? Because like, hey, nothing fits me the way I want. Is that I have expensive taste but don't have the wallet for it, so I'm going to make my own luxury, which is perfectly fine as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, I appreciate what you're saying. It's like, I want to wear what I want, and I want my homies to wear it. So it's
community, like a uniform in a sense, but not a uniform, you know what I mean? So like, if you're out and about, you recognize someone wearing something, you're like, yo, I know that guy's thinks the same way as me, has a similar fashion sense as me, and I can really connect with him. So I could even just randomly go up to this guy wearing my same brand and be like, yo, what's up? We're rocking Love Your Tea, let's connect, you know what I mean? And
it's like an instant connection.
Instant connection, and anything beautiful can come out of it. He could be another creative, he could be another artist, he could be anyone out there that can add value, just by making that connection, like, oh, I love your tea, you're rocking the same brand. So yeah, that's kind of like the inspiration behind it. And like you see, like in the UK, like Cortez do it a lot now, and I fuck with them heavy because they have that community out there, online, in person. Like, as you know, Paris Fashion Week is going on. Also talking about Paris Fashion Week, StreetX as well, what they're doing over there, representing Australia. There's jungles and jungles out there. He's great, but like StreetX is like, I feel like has a bigger community. You know what I mean? Especially what they're doing in the Perth scene is ridiculous. I really, really love it. And what they're doing over there, representing Australia, having that community, I think,
doing big things.
Yeah, it's like to look up to, you know what I mean?
No, I get you. It's always good to have something to aspire for.
Exactly, yeah.
Taking it back a little bit, you guys mentioned you went to the same high school, and like Hrithik, you're like, I want to be able to make that. Was that so like Isaac? Did you have a similar like thoughts and feelings at that time after this bet, after the little like friendly banter? Did you both feel like, like we want to wear similar things for our homies as well?
Yeah, like shit. Back in high school, man, like when we had that bet, it was crazy because like we literally bought tees and brought them to school, and we're like using the school printer to do this, and then we're like in the room, we're like ironing on the labels on the tees, and like teachers would come and be like, yo, what are you guys doing? It's like, hey, don't worry about it.
Schoolwork.
Yeah. Nah, and then like in that whole experience, you know, like being able to create something like with your friends and just like enjoy that moment, like that's what sparked like this whole like journey for me.
And that sticks with you as well. That's
Yeah,
clearly
it
like a memory.
stays.
Like, yeah, I appreciate that. And that's it sounds like that's still what motivates you now.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, not only like with Hrithik, but with anybody that we work with, it's always that feeling of like, yo, me and this person are about to create something that's like crazy. And even if it's not crazy to everyone, like as long as it's crazy to us and we're like enjoying ourselves in that moment, I don't think anything can take away from that.
Exactly. I'm with you. Like, as long as you're happy with what you're making, nothing else matters.
Yeah, for real.
And it's something like I try to touch on with a lot of people, especially like impart any wisdom I have is like, if you like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they don't pay your bills.
Yeah.
If they don't pay, if they ain't paying your bills, pay them no mind, right?
honestly. And like what Hrithik is saying is like when people wear Phoenix gear, it's, you know, it's like a badge that you're like part of the community. It's like, yo, the tee could just be like a normal tee, like it doesn't have to be crazy or anything, but it's like, yeah, that person's wearing the same tee as me. I bet they're on something. Like, I bet they're working. I bet they're grinding. I bet they've like shared some of the experience I've shared. Like, and you feel comfortable enough to go to that person and be like, yo, like, what's up? You know, we're both, like, I mess with that too.
It's a connection point. Yeah. And an easy way to make friends, right?
Yeah. And even with like the events and everything we've done, it's like, everybody just comes together and that energy is always like shared. It's always the same, you know, nobody's like off page and we're all on the same page about like creating and making this city like, you know, better for all of us.
And it's something I appreciate. Like growing up in Adelaide my whole life, I'd see like younger creatives who grow up and they get better and better and then they move to Melbourne or Sydney, right? Because that's where all the opportunities are. And I can see, you know, exactly what I'm talking about, right? But thankfully, we've had some people who know what they're doing, either stay in Adelaide or have come over from interstate and have given opportunities to people in Adelaide. Like shout out to Jude and Luke from Far From, giving the opportunity to young creatives to shine, right?
Yeah.
And people, I always look out for the people who love Adelaide because I love Adelaide. I think Adelaide's a great city, right?
The best city.
Right? I've visited a lot of places in Adelaide and I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world as well, but I love Adelaide. I love this city, right? And I appreciate people trying to make Adelaide better for now and for the future.
Yeah. And it's like, it's crazy how you say that because like, bruh, in this last month, I think it's been like 6, 7, 8 people. It's like, yo, yeah, I'm moving. And I'm like, bro, what do you mean you're moving, man? You know, because these are the same people that have like these amazing projects that they're about to do and they're about to like go places and go crazy. And they're like, yeah, man, I have to go. There's nothing here for me. I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing? You're from here and you're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing
create the thing.
You're
create the
creating
something.
Yeah. And it's like I see it, you know, we got 6 months left and in this year. And I'm thinking like, bro, all these people, you know, you're not going anywhere. Like we have 6 months to change the city and you're going to stay. Like for one reason or another, you're going to stay.
You know, I get you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if we're in Adelaide for the long haul, we want it to be good for us and for the next batch of creators, for the next generation. We want to create those opportunities so they don't have to feel like they have to move.
Yeah, for real.
So I want to take it back a little bit. What inspires you guys when you're creating clothes? Be it culture, be it music, be it family, be it friends, be it anything. What are some things that when you see it, you're filled with inspiration, you're filled with thoughts, you're filled with feelings?
I think that's a really good question because I think when I design, it comes down to my mood and how I'm feeling and sort of like in what place I am in mentally and also kind of like spiritually, like where I'm centered or where I'm grounded in a sense. So if I'm, you know, if I try and force, you know, a design out or I think, oh, I got to get something out the next 2 weeks or I got to force a design out, whatever comes out, I never end up liking or I never really go through with it and it always feels like half-hearted. So whenever I'm designing on paper or Illustrator or Photoshop, it just comes out and like, nah, I got to leave this. But I feel like when I'm in my quietest moments or when I'm doing something I purely enjoy, like when I'm having the most amount of joy and fun, that's when I get ideas. So be it if I'm around family, if I'm jamming to music, like sometimes like I've had designs come to me and I'm listening to like fucking what is it, the Black Eyed Peas, you know what I mean? Like I just had it, like one day I just had this nostalgic feeling of just listening to like Black Eyed Peas and like just my childhood, and out of that a design came and I was like, yo, this is dope. So like when I'm having moments of pure joy, even hanging out with the homies or something like that, it's like just ideas come, you know. So I think
you never know where inspiration is going to strike.
Yeah. But if I'm like, you know, stressed, or if I'm caught up in work or uni work, that's when I feel like I have the toughest time designing. So I kind of just like understand, you know, my mind needs to let go and just be like, yeah, okay, it will come to me in its own time. You know, there's no real pressure, because when pressure is applied, then it's like, you're not being creative, you're forcing it.
I always think about the two sides of your brain, right? There's your side that handles everything in life that you need it to, like work. Then there's the creative side. When you're so stressed with work, when you're overworking, that side of your brain takes completely over.
Exactly.
And you can't put anything towards your creative aspirations.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? And I get that. Point. And you, Isaac, is there anything else that really influences you to this day? And not, even if it's not like specifically like creating the garments, like even if it's like you mentioned creating communities, is there anything that has inspired you? Be it like, I know Virgil is a huge inspiration for a lot of young creatives.
Yeah, like Virgil for sure. Like with me, you know, I spent, I think like hours, you know, just in my room, like watching these fashion shows, and I just see like, bro, how can someone create all this? You know, like it comes from spaces so deep in like a person's mind, and then when they're able to project their ideas and make it come to life, it's like, yo, that's crazy. And with Utopia, like one of the shows we did last year in December, that like stemmed from one of Virgil's shows, and it was like, you know, this big garden with like hella colors, and it's that feeling of like, we don't have to wait till you're like, you know, working with Louis Vuitton or these big brands. Like, yo, we have gardens in Adelaide. Like,
why not?
You know?
Right?
Yeah, like why
let's
not
showcase
now?
Adelaide again.
Yeah,
like, we have this natural beauty. Let's put our man-made beauty right next to it. Right?
Yeah, honestly, and that, you know, so we had the show in the garden, and it was like, it was beautiful, and like that inspiration just comes with the city and the people who were like at the event. Like they're all inspirations to us, because you know, at the end of the day, it is to build a community here first. Like, you know, I say that openly. Like, I want Adelaide there in the middle.
Yeah, no.
You know,
I get you.
I want people to be able to make a big living like of creativity in Adelaide, because I feel like that's why everybody moves, because they're like, yo, I want to make M's, you know.
But I want to be able to, you know, look after, take care of my family. I want to buy a house.
I want to be able to live life, and
it's
just like, I know it's gonna be hard work, but it's coming. Like the city, you know, even with like the infrastructure.
Infrastructure?
Yeah, infrastructure. That word, I don't know why it always.
No, you do it. I got you.
Yeah,
the bright lights, man. The camera.
Like, but you know, it's changing. They're having more venues for young creatives to do things, more exhibition spaces. Like, it's all coming, but I feel like people aren't just.
It's
they
patience,
just don't want to wait.
Right?
Yeah, you gotta have patience for it.
Even and even stuff like this. Like, this is a good time where crazy. People who are new to your brand or new to you guys specifically, who may have seen other work from Far From, or like guests on the last pod, Reshab and Jason from Inside Thoughts and Scumbag, if they're fans of theirs and they didn't know about you guys, this is now an introduction to you guys from them. Right? This is another way to, again, get this creative platform that wasn't there before here now. And I get you 100%. And a big thing, sorry, no, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to expand on what Isaac said. Like, you know, when you're talking about building communities and the fashion show, I just want to, like, you know, I've told Isaac this before, but the amount of work he did into envisioning that fashion show, especially watching Virgil, was madness. So Isaac was the creative mind behind the fashion show. All I was the supporting structures. So basically, he came to me with an idea. He said, bro, let's do this. Like, how can we do X, Y, Z? And I said, bro, let's just do it. Like, for me, I can't take no one as an answer. Like, I will try and find a way, because like something I'm so passionate about, how can I lose? Like, that's the mentality. How can I lose if I have that willpower? You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I can lose, so I have to keep going.
You
So
just
Isaac,
put your whole ass into it.
That's
Put your head
it.
first.
So when Isaac came to me, he was like, bro, let's do it in the fashion like garden. I was like, I had to like actually stop for a second to like, why hasn't it been done before? Like I genuinely thinking like, why haven't I seen this in Adelaide or in our scene at all before? Like I'm sure it would have been done in a Melbourne or a Sydney thing, and people are like, oh, that's average. But here in Adelaide, you know, it's very tough. We don't have any like smaller brands that do fashion shows or take that step forward, which is a real shame. But he came to me like, yeah, let's do a fashion show. Let's set up like this, like that. And we did. The only thing, we only missed one element, and it was Isaac had this idea of, he watched this, I don't know who it was, what fashion show it was, but it was like they were building standing blocks, or the wooden blocks. There was like on the side, the Heron Preston one. They like they had people building like wooden blocks for the models to stand on.
For the runway.
On all the models had to just walk down in the thing, pick it up, and walk down. And that was such a dope concept, but we couldn't get it to work because we couldn't damage the grass. We couldn't damage the grass, so we'd had to pay for it.
20 million like insurance liability.
We're not risking that.
Come on,
We're like, we don't want to mess up nothing. But yeah, that show was so amazing. And again, it was about building the community, because we connected with so many people that we had met before and hadn't met before, and we saw how much creativity came out of it, and the amount of work we did with people. And we saw, like, for example, I'll give you one example. There's this guy named Zane,
A photographer, right?
Photographer, yeah.
That's
So we had
dope.
never met him, and he had just come to the show. And out of that, he got so much work. He did so much work with us. He did his Friends magazine, which he launched here at Far From with Jude's blessing. And he sold a lot of his magazines. We bought one, everything. So it was like one of the most dope things that came out for him. And it was just one small element of, you know, okay, this is the influence that we can have on Adelaide. And then they can take it and run from it, and run with it, you know what I mean? Because we just gave him the platform, and then he chose to make those creative connections and stuff like that. So I think, like you said earlier, it's just about, okay, making that change now and doing it for the next generations. You know what I mean? Because for us, I don't feel like we have no OGs here in Adelaide. Even like if you go Sydney, Melbourne, no one's really trying to help you. And here we don't have that, okay, established brand where we can be like, hey bro, like reach out to you, but like, can you help us set up? How do I do this? How do I do that? So if we can become that, and you know, when the next generation come up in the next 5-10 years, you know, we hope to be that reference point. Hey, like send us an email.
Doors always open.
Doors always open, because at the end of the day, we're not losing anything. Like
Exactly.
there's enough food on the plate to go around.
Everyone's got money.
Everyone's got money, and everyone has to buy a tea.
Yeah, exactly. We need
You're not going to go out there naked.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a plain white tee from Target for $8. Be a designer tee for $500 or from Louis Vuitton. A tea is a tea. You need to buy a tea. People have unlimited teas.
100%.
How many teas do you have in your cupboard?
You do not want to.
Exactly.
And they're all white tees. If anyone knows me, I'm going to say 90% of my t-shirts are just white tees.
See?
And I'm always in the hunt for a good white tee.
Exactly. See, people. So there's, when I see people that are like, you know, that don't want to share, you know, how they're doing things, or, you know, work together. Yeah, gatekeeping is, you know, we don't look to collaborate on like brands and stuff like that. We just, you know, if we can help out, or hey, let's do a club event together, XYZ. We're always open for it, because at the end of the day, the city wins and we win. That's all that matters. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's just about building that community and changing that mindset of, hey, I got to go to Melbourne, I got to go to Sydney.
Exactly.
You know? And yeah, making that change here. So
a big thing that like you guys have preached since the moment we started this podcast was community. Yeah. Community. And did this start, like you mentioned in high school, you already had your homies. Did it start from there? That thought of like, I want to build a group, a collective, a community. Did that start from that, or did that start earlier on?
You want to start with this one?
Yeah, this is an open floor. This isn't direct questions directly at anyone.
No. I like listening to, like, you know, like when Hrithik talks to you, man, it's like some things just catch me off guard, and I'm just like, yeah, like this guy, he's not normal, man, you know. And like I be around him like all the time, and I'm still able to, like, you know, pick these things off him. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Because like even going back to what we've done already, it's like with Hrithik, there's never no, like he can always find a way. And like even on some of our gear, that's like no release yet, but you know, it says like there's
samples coming. Keep looking out. Pay attention to the socials.
Yeah. But it's like it says like there's always a way, and it's like it's always been like that. And you know, relating to the community, like to build a community where you have, even if it's one person that's saying like, bro, don't worry, there's a way with your idea, like you can go crazy. It's like, even when we work with, you know, people who are just starting out, they'd be like, oh, I want to do this, but I don't know if it's going to work or this. And we're just like, yo, shut up. Like, go crazy. Do what you want to do.
Right?
Like, we will find a way.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's like led to a lot of the stuff that has happened for us. And yeah, that's the community that we're trying to build. And, you know, it does always start like with who's around you, you know, like the guys that we have in high school, like they're still our guys now. The Steelo boys, like, those are homies, and it's like it's always communities. But
I appreciate
it's not like, yeah, it's not just like, you know, just us and then that's it. It's like the whole city is one community.
It can
just gotta work.
It can be hard to take that first leap if you don't have supportive people around you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And so it seems like you guys found each other earlier on in life and were able to support each other to make a lot of these leaps either at the same time or sequentially. Where it's like, I'm taking this jump, I'm going to do this creative thing. Come with me, trust me, because it's going to work out, right? And it's a big thing I preach to a lot of people is hard work with a vision pays off.
Absolutely.
And it may not pay off right away, but it'll pay off.
Yeah, because how can you lose if you work so hard?
Exactly.
I always find like the harder you work, the luckier you get. So in the beginning, obviously, it takes time for that luck to accumulate. But over time, you know, there's someone out there watching, or even life is just like, yeah, you've been working hard. Here you go, you get lucky. You catch a break, or you connect with someone, you never know. So it's like one of those things. And then when it comes to building communities, it's like, it's just so beautiful to see someone grow into, you know, what they can become. Like, it's because sometimes they can't see it for themselves because they're so scared to take that first jump, or they're so scared to take the first step because, oh, how will people react? How will think this? You know, I'm so used to acting like this, and then if I start posting on social media like this, or if I start doing creative projects, will people believe in me? Will people trust me? And just like, you know, creating a community, just go for it, man. Like, here, connect with this person. They know what they're doing. They can give you some guidance, X, Y, Z. Because that's the biggest thing. Like, growing up in, like, you know, we're both ethnic, and community is a huge factor in like growing up in our lives, you know, because it's just like feels like a safety net. It's like, you know, having people around you that know you, that know your culture, know what you're about, you know,
that support network.
That support network, exactly. You know, you got it right on the head. It makes you feel like, yeah, how can I lose? You know, how can I, you know, if I've got the right people around me, if I've got the right connections, and then people are willing to give me a go, you know, it's creates a wonderful opportunity from them.
100%.
Yeah. And it, like, that just takes me back to like this one moment. Like, you know, one of my best friends, Timmy. Yeah. Like, this is what I mean. Like, when you have faith in like the people around you. I think it was like 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm like working on some idea, and I'm like, yo, like, I need to get this out of my head, but I didn't have a pencil. And then I'm just like I messaged Timmy, and I was like, God, please, man, like, you know, if this idea is supposed to come out, like let him just bring me a pencil. And like, Timmy lived down the road, but you know, still, it's like 2 a.m. Like, he wants to be in bed, whatever. And
He's in bed.
Like, for
He's
a
chilling,
pencil, yeah. And then I'm just like, yo, like, Tim, man, bro, I have this thing in my head, I need to get it out. Like, but I need a pencil, bro. Like, and
trust me, it's literally, it's like,
and like, bro, you know, he came to my house, he dropped the pencil in the letterbox, went home, I got the pencil, drew out like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 pages of an idea. And then like, I took it to Hrithik, because it wasn't even like teased at the beginning. Like, the idea I came to him was like a way to like revolutionize soccer boots. But I know if I speak deep into it, man, these Adidas, Nike, I know you'll be
For real.
Coming for your brand, boys.
Yeah. And so I like took the idea to Hrithik, which is like, yo, like, that's actually crazy. And I'm like, yeah, man, you know. And then that's where kind of everything just started and went crazy.
It's the concept of having the right people around and for them to trust you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
big shout out.
Trust me, and like, follow me. I'll take us together.
Yeah.
We'll go together.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
There was something that I wanted to touch on, Hrithik. You mentioned both being from ethnic backgrounds.
Correct.
And both creating communities in Adelaide. And something I touched on with Jason and Rishab as well is like representation.
Yeah.
And for them, it's not seeing too much representation of like the top creators, the top designers, the top things. a lot of time are Caucasian guys.
Yeah.
Not seeing people that look like you in these top spots. Has that given you sort of fuel to the fire to be that representation for other people?
I think that's a very interesting point. I think you can kind of take it two ways. I think, not seeing so many people of your culture or of your ethnicity background or even skin color, kind of motivates you to like, why can't I? But then at the same time, it's like, you got to understand, 20, 30 years ago when our parents came, even 30, 40 years ago, they didn't come here as designers or creatives or stuff like that. They came here to kind of just set up a life for themselves and give our current generation that opportunity. So it will take time. So in the next batch, seeing us, seeing Rishab, seeing Jason, I think if in the next 20, 30 years, if that doesn't change, then okay, yeah, something's gone down the wrong
the wrong path.
Wrong path. Something's been wrong.
There's been a left turn where we should have gone right.
Yeah. But there's like, you have to see deeper than like color. Like I get it, but at the same time, it's like if you use that as an out, it becomes too convenient. You're like, oh, he just got that because he's white. Okay, yeah. Like it's tough. You have to work twice as hard, but at the same time, you can't let that be an easy out and kind of give up on what you're doing. You got to keep pushing forward.
You got to push through that wall.
Because then you become that representation that you fought so hard for. But yeah, I think it's very interesting, and I think when we do eventually do something like that and become representation, it's just making sure that we keep that same mentality as it's still day one, in the sense that people will still come to us for ask for advice and help and ask and provide that to people around us that are from culturally diverse backgrounds. Because even for us, like getting support from our parents was it was like a bumpy road in a sense, because in the beginning your parents don't understand until they see something come out of it. So for me, my parents, it took a little while for them to actually understand, this is the journey I want to go on and this is what I want to be on. Because I'm sure it's similar for Isaac, but being Indian, like my parents literally only gave me a couple options: doctor, lawyer, or somewhere in finance. So I chose the easiest one there, because I was like, look, I can still make money, still do everything. But I didn't feel fulfilled. Like I was like, yeah, I'm going through first year uni, but I'm not feel like I'm doing
your soul and your heart.
Yeah,
the same way as fulfilled as your mind is.
Exactly. I wanted to do something that connected with me internally. And as a kid, I always wanted to be a car designer. I swear to God, I used to design cars when I was a kid. The most ridiculous, funny looking cars.
Weird ones, maybe
weird
2 wheels, 3
cars,
wheels,
whatever.
weird boxes.
That's the thing. Like I used to love doing that as a kid, and I thought, look, why can't I do something sort of similar and just fulfill that inner child, And then my parents were like, really like, is he going to stick with it? Is he going to do it? Is he not? And then when me and Isaac held our first event in December 2019, in December 2019, we had like 60, 65 people come out, and we didn't expect it. Then they were like, okay, maybe he's actually onto something.
Yeah.
And then talking about Utopia, my mum came to it right near the end. She missed the actual runway. Even though I told her, look, it's going to be this time.
11:30 start date.
It's this time, exactly. And she's like, yeah, I'll be there. But I should have known better. Being Indian, being ethnic, we're always late. I should have told her 15 minutes earlier. But she saw the end of it, and she was still surprised about like how many people actually showed up. She was like, And then it's funny. Ever since then, she's like, if she sees me slacking, she's like, you're not working hard enough. You have to work hard in your brain. You should release more. I swear to God, it's been a complete flip, and she's like, why aren't you releasing more teas? Where's this? It's good season for hoodies. I'm like, Mom, chill out. You see what I'm going through, it's not easy. So yeah, what about you, Isaac? Similar?
Yeah. Like for me, growing up, like my dad's an academic, like very like smart guy, and he's always just put me on the track of like, get that education, and you'll be on the right path to do anything you want in life. And in any ethnic household, it is always good to have like that solid career, doctor, engineer, this that, like
high paying. You're not gonna lose it. It's there forever. Well respected.
And like we all know that, and like it sucks that it's that way, but we do understand that our parents do only like ever want the best for us. You know, it's worked for them. Like my dad had like a crazy like childhood growing up, and education is what like got him to where he is now.
Exactly.
So he's just like, yo, like I'm gonna give my kids that chance. Like
Exactly.
no matter
They
what.
know what worked for them, and they want to try and give that to you as much as they can.
Yeah, and you know that like that was the path I'm on, and then like, you know, I was starting to go down the path of like becoming a doctor, because like I just wanted to help people. And you know, school I don't know why, but like I feel like it's school maybe for like ethnic kids who get it is like it's not hard at all. Like it's kind of like you can just cruise through school because you're like, yeah, you know, if I do this it makes sense, let me just do it that way. You know, like I was growing up, I was getting like C's and like chilling, and then my dad's like, you know, because I wanted to play soccer, and then I'm just like, all right, I'm a like, you know, if I get better grades, can I play soccer? And literally like next year it's like it turns into A's and stuff, and then it just goes from like, yo, if I get A's, like I can play soccer, I can do like, you know, what I want. And yeah, that went like all the way through to high school. And then when it, like you reach year 10, 11, it starts to get serious, because you're like, damn, you know, like if
Time's
I'm going
running out.
if I'm going down this pathway, like, man, you know, I'm gonna have to become this. And you know, like being a kid, you search up like what makes the most money. You go down these, and like I'm finding doctors make like 200k, this 100k, like whatever, and then I just go down like a bit more, and then I'm seeing like people who have businesses, and these guys, like there's no cap on what they can make, you know, like there's no cap on like what a good business can make. You know, you have Apple, you have the Louis Vuittons, the Gucci's,
open
like,
market,
insane amounts of money. And then I'm just like, damn, so like who are these people that own these brands? And then they like turn out to be entrepreneurs, and then it's like, damn, if these, you know, if these people can be entrepreneurs, why can't I? You know, like growing up, I always had like hella interest. You know, you're into this and that, and I feel like it's the same just being a creative. Like you're not always into one thing. Your inspiration doesn't come from one thing. And if your career is all about just, you know, finding these moments in these things that you like to me, that's perfect. Like that's amazing. Being able to being able to have a barbershop, but being like having a studio that's doing all these creative things.
Right?
That's so
just
dope.
like that, bro, that's not normal. Like that's crazy. And for me, if I can even get close to something like that, like being able to make teas, have events, go out to dinners, do a photo shoot, like videographer, music, whatever. Like to me, that's living a free life.
Satiate every creative part in your brain.
Yeah.
Like everything that like inspires you, you've done something creatively around that.
Yeah.
And that's the dream, right?
Honestly.
Not have to work a 9 to 5. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not that creative side of your brain that really takes most control, right?
Yeah. And man, I always think, like I tell Hrithik all the time, like so, once you actually get into the path of having to do what you have to do, man, it gets draining. Like your mind, oh my God, it starts getting fried. And then literally like you want to give up like so many times, but then you realize you can't, because if you stop now, then everything else was like, you know, it had no point. So I lost my train of thought.
No, you're okay.
I'll build on it.
Yeah,
like
go.
that's a good point he makes there,
It gets
because
overwhelming,
I was
bro,
actually
like-
talking to Isaac and like a couple people that are like truly like, you know, I trust with how I feel and, you know, protect my emotions. But it's like I work a 9 to 5 for now, and I go to uni and I have this business, and it's so draining because you have a limited amount of energy, and your energy is being pushed in so many different directions. You feel like you can't excel in one direction. It's like, because I learned it from a book, I forgot the book name, but it's a great book, and it kind of had this diagram, like, you know, your energy, you can only do so much if you're going in so many different directions. But if you focus completely on one thing, it's like you can excel so much. So recently I'd been going through it because I was like, man, like this is draining, everything is killing me, like, you know. So I had to take a step back and be like, reassess, okay, why am I actually doing it? You know, and especially this podcast, I was kind of really looking forward to it, because it's like, you know, it just kind of, it's like a jump start to like, okay, refresh, like, you know, this is why you started, this is why you got into it. And then, I saw your profile, and I know Jude's a crazy inspiration, especially coming from a big city like Sydney back to Adelaide and having an establishment, working with a council, Port Adelaide Council, to make a whole change. Knowing how hard it is to work with councils itself, like we've had to do a couple grants, and it's actual madness to go through them. It's like actually like I feel like I'm being punched by Mike Tyson. I mean, I'm like fucking 12 rounds of Mike Tyson.
It's a lot of backhand.
A lot of backhand, and then and so seeing like Jude, especially like Port Adelaide, it's like that's madness. And then obviously what you're doing with Subtype, even Subtype being like I didn't know Subtype was owned by a bigger corporation. I was like, that's crazy. I looked into them and then looked at how like they would like I watched a video of like the CEO of that bigger group, and like they were selling like $60,000 worth of like gear a minute during the lockdown. I was like, how is this possible? Like there's money out there like 60 grand going a minute, like so it's just kind of, it was like, I was really looking forward to it. It was actually a highlight of my week because, work gets so draining and like, okay, you have something to look forward to. But it's just, where we started with, people of color and representation.
Well, we've diverged from that, and that is perfectly fine, right? What hopefully I wanted to do today is have you guys take a look back at where you were and assess and kind of refresh. We are running time, so we're going to have to wrap it up. But before we do, do you guys have any upcoming events, drops coming up, anything you want to plug?
We have, so as we mentioned earlier, we're part of a bigger group called Stilo. I'm currently helping a friend of mine, and Isaac is as well, run a fashion show. He's having people come from Sydney, Melbourne, designers and stuff like that. He set a target date for July 31st. And hopefully July 31st, it goes through. Worst case scenario, it gets pushed back a couple weeks, depending on the council. But and then we got a couple drops in October, November, December, and like near the end of the month. And we have projects with like Gian, Leon, like even people from out of state as well. Some brands in Melbourne, like Escapism, they're having a pop-up 99 social? No, 99 Gang Social. In Adelaide. We have like a couple like Friday events as well. And there's a lot happening in the city, and it's good. It's good to see.
And if the people want to find out more, is the best way Instagram? Is there a website where, let's say, someone hearing about you guys for the first time, where should they go to learn more?
Phoenix Streetwear on Instagram.
On Instagram?
Stilo Flow on Instagram.
The links will probably be below if you're watching this on YouTube, or they'll be in the description otherwise. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap it up, but thank you boys very much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
I really appreciate it. If this is your first time listening to the Close to Home podcast, check us out at Far From on most likely a website or on podcast, on YouTube, on Google Pod, Apple Pod, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, wherever good podcasts are found, we will be there. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Deuces.
Thank you.